Hey, I'm Dr. Fritz at Root Therapies, and today I wanted to make a pretty common herbal formula and show you how you can make it into a tincture. The formula I decided to make is called Xiao Yao San, or Free and Easy Wander. Classically, it is also known as rambling powder. I'm going to actually make a modified version of this by just adding one other herb to the classic formula. So this formula, Xiao Yao San, it spreads liver qi, it tonifies the spleen and nourishes blood. And so a lot of times we think of it for stressful situations, for women who have PMS, because it kind of will help make the stress a little bit less and make that anxiety, irritation a little bit better with the herbal formula. All right, so this one classically has 3, 4, 5, 6 herbs in it, and then I'm going to add a 7th one that's going to make it Hey Xiao Yao San, or black rambling powder. And this is more for women who are severely blood deficient and might have issues like menstrual cramps, dizziness. And a lot of my patients are more blood deficient, and so I decided to add that to make it a more modified formula. So each of these herbs is going to be usually 30 grams, or if you're making it like an herbal tea, you use usually 9 grams of each. Since I am going to grind these, I'm going to modify the amount of herbs for each of these and use 18 grams of each. So the first one I'm using is chaihu. So chaihu is bupleurum, and it's really kind of the chief herb in this formula. It's a really important one for moving liver qi. If you don't have chaihu, you could substitute xiangfu, but xiangfu to me has a little bit more of a bitter taste, and so I don't really like that one as much. The second one is an herb that I talked about, I think, on the YouTube channel, dangui, and so this one nourishes blood. We're going to put about 18 grams of that in there as well. Okay, next we're going to have bai xiao, which is white peony root. And so this one is another blood tonic. And so we're going to put about 18 grams of that in as well. Okay, and I'm just adding that to this. I'm actually going to take them out of this big one and grind it and then put it back in there and add some alcohol. So that's our bai xiao. Another herb for this formula is going to be baiju. Also, this one tonifies qi. It's a tract lotus. It's another really nice herb. It's the one I talked about when we put together Yu Ping Feng San. So I'm going to add 18 grams of our baiju. And then we have fuling, or poria. This one drains damp. And so this one's a little bit more active in that nourishing or tonifying the spleen. So again, I'm going to do about 18 grams of this. And then last is gansao. So the classical formula does call for gansao, which is going to be honey fried. I don't have that, so it's going to be a little less tonifying. But that is something that we're going to make. You can make honey fried licorice root or gansao yourself with honey as well. Okay, so I'm adding a little bit less of that. That's going to be about 6 grams. Put too much in there. And then the one that's going to make it more of the Hey Xiao Yao San is going to be the Shu Di Huang. So this one's a little bit more cloying in nature. It is another blood tonic. And I'm going to, it's a little bit sticky. So I'm going to put about 18, now I'm going to put about 12 grams of that in here. So all these herbs together, you could make into an herbal tea by doing the double boiling process. But what I'd like to do is make it into a tincture. So I'm going to grind the herbs together in this grinder, and then we're going to put it back in here and add alcohol to do sort of the folk tincturing method for Chinese herbs. Okay, so we did grind those up. Some of the herbs are still a little bit large, but overall they're a lot smaller, and that will help them tincture better and be stronger. So there's different ways that you can tincture. Sometimes you add water with it. For this, I'm just going to add alcohol. And so you can use pretty much any kind of grain alcohol that you prefer. I usually use vodka. It needs to be about 40 to 70% proof. And then with this method, it's considered the folk method or the maceration method. So the alcohol and the herbs really need to sit in a dark location for a good 6 to 8 weeks before you can strain out the herbs and then have that medicinal joe or tincture. So we're just going to add this alcohol. And I use different brands. I try to find ones that are going to be, you know, pretty clean. And so we're going to fill this pretty much all the way up. And then after it has sat for about that 6 to 8 weeks, I'll put them into amber glass dropper bottles, strained out. So all the herbs get strained out. And then that will be the medicinal tincture. And in this case, it'll be the Xiao Yao San. So the black rambling powder. And usually you go all the way up to the lid. The herbs will expand as they're sitting there, and that pretty much used that entire bottle. So this has a plastic lid, so I'm going to get a cheesecloth gauze and put that over that so it doesn't interact or do anything with the plastic. You also want to do that for if you have a metal lid on your container. So daily or as often as possible, you just want to move the herbs and the liquid a little bit. You want to label it very carefully with the ingredients and the date and any extra modifications you made, what type of alcohol it was, and then put it away, you know, so that it's in a nice dark place. And so this is one example of how to tincture a common Chinese herbal formula. If you're enjoying this video, subscribe to Root Therapies. I'm going to be adding some qigong, some different herbal apothecary ideas, and yep, so like and subscribe. Thank you.